Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Today we're going to find out more about the Somers and Balmoral Castle and why the royals loved it so much. Though official royal residences like Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace are owned by the Crown Estate, which is funded by British taxpayers, Balmoral was Elizabeth's personal property, inherited through her family. Her only other privately owned residence is Sandringham, located in Norfolk, England. Well, when was Balmoral acquired? The beginnings of this magnificent property started back in 1390 when a first home was built there. The royals didn't get involved until 1852. Prince Albert purchased the estate as a gift for his wife, Queen Victoria, who loved the Scottish countryside. The landscape is said to have reminded Prince Albert of his homeland in Coburg in Germany. Its style is considered to be Scottish baronial and Gothic revival. According to townandcountry.com, when the residence was deemed too small, the royal couple built an additional castle, the one that still exists today, to fit their growing family. The new structure was completed in 1856, and the other building was torn down. Now, the 50,000-acre estate features 150 buildings in total. Queen Victoria was the first English-born monarch of Great Britain ever to fall in love with Scotland. She thought it was the finest country in the world, and came north of the border as often as she could. Victoria didn't just like the building and the countryside, she loved the people too. The royal couple delighted in adopting Scottish customs. They ate porridge for breakfast, for instance, and quickly fell in love with tartan, to the extent that they decked the castle out in it. And Queen Elizabeth and her family loved it too. Queen Elizabeth got to know the place from her parents and her grandfather. According to townandcountry.com, the late queen would spend the summers of her youth at Balmoral with her sister, the late Princess Margaret, riding ponies, playing games, and having picnics on the expansive lawns. Though Margaret grew away from sports and nature, Elizabeth continued to love spending time in the country, especially fishing and stalking deer, and even crawling on her stomach to do so, and Balmoral always provided ample opportunity to do this. Prince Philip, he proposed to Princess Elizabeth at Balmoral in 1946, and that made the place even more special to Elizabeth with that memory. And this is the place that they loved to take their summer vacation in. Queen Elizabeth II often rode horseback or drove her beloved Range Rover over the rugged terrain. And the family also enjoyed fishing, hunting, picnicking, and barbecuing. Vogue.com had a quote by Princess Eugenie who said, "Walks, picnics, dogs, a lot of dogs. There was always dogs and people coming in and out all the time." Princess Eugenie said of Balmoral in an interview of 2016 with ITV about her late grandmother, "There was a lovely base for Granny and Grandpa for us to come and see them up there, where you just have room to breathe and run." And there's also endangered red squirrels there, and Prince William said that his father is obsessed by them. King Charles admitted that he enjoys making the animals feel right at home. "They come into the house at Burke Hall, and we get them chasing each other round and round inside," he told Country Life. "If I sit quietly, they'll do it around me." So Prince Harry mentions the good times in his book, Spare. Prince Harry said it was one of the happiest times in his life, and he wrote that he considered the castle and its vast acreage of land simply paradise. He would spend a regular summer vacation at the castle with his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Prince Harry recalled that when his grandparents were in the kitchen, he said Prince Philip would get back before everybody else when they went out, and then he would be at the back of the lodge cooking venison and Cumberland sausage. And Queen Elizabeth had a specialty dressing she would make. Harry said she lit the candles down on the long table, and we all sat on wooden chairs with creaky straw seats. Often we had guests for these dinners, some famous or eminent personage. Many times I discussed the temperature of the meat or the coolness of the evening with a prime minister or bishop. That night it was just family. And Tony Blair, who visited there, said that the Queen would do the dishes after dinner. They'd put on the gloves and stick their hands in the sink, and the Queen asks if you're finished. She stacks the plates up and goes off to the sink. Some memories of those special times. Princess Anne said, according to the telegraph.co.uk, that the holiday times are pretty well kept, actually, from our perspective, adding that on the holiday, her parents were nearly always around. Partly because it included all things that she enjoyed, included the countryside, the dogs, the horses, and just being out and about and being able to get away from that public gaze. And Edward, the Earl of Wessex, the Queen's youngest child, said that the happiest times, inevitably, that we'd spend together would be on the holidays. So Balmoral and Sandringham stand out very, very clearly as favorite places because of the time we spent together as a family and how the royals put their touches on it. The original owner, Prince Albert, was the first to do renovations, building a fresh castle in the Scottish baronial style using pale granite from the nearby Glen Gelder quarries. He was also responsible for a series of smaller additions to the property, such as the main farmhouse. Queen Mary planted elaborate flower gardens on the south lawn, and the Duke of Edinburgh established a vegetable patch, which harvested each summer during the royal family's visit. Queen Victoria additionally had a number of cottages built on the grounds, most notably the garden cottage where she used to write her diaries. Queen Elizabeth's favorite cottage on the estate, the Craigorwyn Lodge, is said to have a lift-in trio lift installed for wheelchair, and as well as this, the Highlands home is due to be filled with a state-of-the-art intercom system, a new security gate, a bunch of CCTV cameras for good measure. King Charles has also done some renovations, and the new king was keen to give the property a complete interior overhaul to usher in his reign by redecorating the royal home for presumably the first time in many decades. And things that have happened there, it's used mainly for the royal family holidays, and the Queen tended to go to Balmoral every summer. Things happened there, good and bad, and notably King Charles III and Princess Diana visited on their honeymoon. Years later, the Queen was at Balmoral when she was informed of Princess Diana's death. It's also where King Charles III and the Queen Consort Camilla isolated toward the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Queen returned to Balmoral when her husband Philip died. And then, last but not least, Balmoral was the place that Queen Elizabeth died. She loved being there. She made such wonderful memories with her father, mother, and sister, as well as her family. And I'm glad she got to spend her last days there because the place was so important to her. So who wasn't a fan? Princess Diana absolutely hated Balmoral. It was freezing and raining all the time. She hated shooting. She hated the muck about the country. No matter if it was drizzling, you still had to go to the family picnic. And then Prince Philip would often complain that she would just show up at breakfast and dinner late and put on her headphones and listen to music. It was just so far from her cosmopolitan sensibilities. Looking at pictures of Balmoral, no wonder the royal family loved going there. It does look like paradise. Balmoral was a place that the royal family could go and just be normal. No one was looking at them, and they got to be out in nature, which was what most of the royals loved to be in. And the place holds such memories going back to the days of Queen Victoria, King George V, King George VI, Queen Elizabeth, and now King Charles. This special place was where the royals could just go and be themselves. They got to spend time in beautiful surroundings, just doing ordinary things that meant the world to them. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you liked it, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. And I hope everybody's been having a good day. If you haven't clicked on the notification bell yet, if you could, you'll be notified of when a new video is posted. Tune in again soon for another episode of Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.